And in fact, in the old days, when a tribe was considering going to war, guess who would decide whether they would go to war or not? The women. And there's a practical reason why the women should make that decision. You know what it is? Yeah, right. Right, because they'll be left because of babies. So, if they're uneasy or uncomfortable with it, then the tribe does not go to war. Because if they do and the warriors lose, then the women and children are the ones who will really lose in the long run, right? So why not let those who are the most vulnerable make the decision? Now, decisions. Women have always been permitted to be chief or warrior. In fact, among the Cherokee in contemporary times, some of the most effective principal chiefs have been women. And there are some in the history of the Shawnee as well. If they feel that they are being called by the Great Spirit to be a warrior, they can be a warrior. And the way a chief is decided upon is that the eldest woman in each family is the leader of the family. Okay? So my family is going through some transitions. My great aunts, are kind of dying off. And that's how the progression has progressed. So, if a great aunt, which would be our clan mother, says you're going to be at this meeting or this event or that event, you did it, no question. And the clan mothers then would submit the candidate for chief. They would choose who the person was going to be chief. And then we vote in our meetings. There's a lot of debate. People really participate. Everybody is very candid about what he or she thinks or says. And we debate and debate and debate until everybody is very clear on whatever it is we're going to vote on. And by the time we vote, there's consensus. And that may take as long as it takes. So I used to ask the chief, we'd go to these yearly council meetings, well, how long is this going to take? I don't know. It'll take as long as it takes. We may be done today. We may not. So that's how it works. But consensus has to be heartfelt. You don't just concede. It's got to be genuine. And so we never know how long anything's going to take. Well, what is the state of Indian country today? Today in Indian country, there are over 5 million Native Americans and Alaska Natives of the 566 federally recognized tribal nations. And there are many state-recognized tribal governments as well. More than 20% of American Indians live in poverty. On reservations, it's nearly from 40 to 60% live in poverty. Ken's been there. He's seen that. He knows what that looks like. And today, more than 42% are under the age of 25. 60% of American Indian women are married to non-Indian men. The U.S. Constitution gives sovereignty to Indian nations as separate but equal. American Indians have dual citizenship. Jefferson Keel of the Chickasaw Nation is the president of the National Congress on American Indians from his address given February 14th this year at Washington, D.C. Today in Oklahoma, each tribe has its own state license plates. It says the state of Oklahoma on it, but it has the tribal seal on it for that particular tribe and the name of the tribe. And my parents all have that. I have some tribal recognition plates on the front of my vehicles, which says the Shawnee tribe, shows a Shawnee flag on there. So you can take a look at the front of my vehicles and you'll see that. Some tribes have smoke shops selling tobacco products. Some have casinos. Now let me tell you about the casinos. The Indians are not getting rich on the casinos. The gaming companies are getting rich. The United States government's getting their chunk from the casinos. But the Indians are exploited. When I visited the Lodestar Casino at Fort Thompson in South Dakota a few years ago, and I was talking to a person there who was a member of the Lakota tribe, who had earned his master's in business administration. And in fact, he had another master's. I can't remember what it was. His wife was also very educated. He was offered a job as a clerk in the Lodestar, minimum wage, and his first day showing up for the job, they asked him, well, where's your wife? He said, what do you mean, where's my wife? I'm the one getting the job. And they said, no, we're not going to pay one person this amount. We want to pay two people this amount. That's what really happens on these casinos. And they will find one or two, among the American Indians there, wherever it is, whether it's in the Creek Nation, the Peoria, whatever nation it is, where they're trying to set up these casinos, and they will use them kind of as pawns, if you will, to try to get some kind of agreement with all kinds of promises that they're going to make the tribe rich and the people are going to be better off and all this sort of stuff. But really all they do is exploit, use, and abuse the people. So the casinos are never a good thing. And they're, at the very least, there's a lot of strings attached. Few American Indians have businesses. Typically, they're individuals that have their own businesses. Many tribes teach language and culture to their young people. Some are willing to let the language be recorded. In fact, this is an issue we're having in the Shawnee tribe right now. I brought some things that are recorded that the older folks, I call them the traditionals, they don't want the language recorded. They say, no, the Great Spirit gave us the language through oral tradition. That's how it must be learned from the elders in the council house through oral tradition. And the others, some of the younger ones, my generation and younger, I refer to them as the progressives. Now, I have a foot in both camps, so I can get along with both and understand both. We do want it recorded, but we want it recorded accurately, you know. So this is a primer that's used to teach the children. And interestingly enough, it's a syllabic language, and I'll write a little bit up here in a minute. But what they're using for text is the Gospel of Matthew and the Gospel of John. Indian nations have their own law enforcement on reservations, tribal police and jails, and I always tell people visiting the reservations when I've led trips and things, and I said, don't mess with the tribal police. They won't give you a ticket, they'll just arrest you and take you to jail. And you can explain it later, maybe. Health care is provided at Indian hospitals and clinics. The U.S. federal government is obligated through treaties. In fact, there are over 349 treaties made between the United States government and Indian nations prior to 1871. And through those, they promised health care and education to all Indian peoples. And so, you know, we're trying to say, okay, if you promised it, then you need to deliver. Otherwise, don't make promises you can't deliver, right? And in 1871, Congress declared that they would make no more treaties. And that's the state of Indian country today. So, what I've got here to give, and I'll give you a little bit of so words are like that. Nilawa means our, or we. Nilawa. So that's what I mean by syllabic. Okay, syllabic language. A lot of ancient languages are. If you study Akkadian and some of those ancient languages prior to Hebrew. And what I've got here is the Lord's Prayer in Shawnee with the English translation underneath it, and I've got one here for everybody. Now, I want to apologize for putting it on 2 pages. The printer was not cooperating with me that day, so I didn't mean to use up a lot of trees. So if you want to kind of take one and pass it out. And before we get into the question and answers, I thought we would sing a little bit. How many of you know Kumbaya? All right, we're going to sing it in Shawnee. Okay? In Shawnee, it's repeat after me. Peawama ni manito. Peawama. Okay. Peawama means to come here or come close. And ni means my, manito, God or Lord. Okay, so let's try it. Peawama ni manito, peawama. Peawama ni manito, peawama. Peawama ni manito, peawama. Ni manito, peawama. Thank you.